What is up, all? Melvins, Freak Puke. This album came out in 2012 on Ipecac Records. Melvins are a three-piece from Washington, and they play sludge. And this time around, yes, Melvins are a three-piece with Dale Crover, Buzz Osborne, and Trevor Dunn on stand-up bass and bass guitar, as well as vocals. And Trevor Dunn has been in a lot of acts from Mr. Bungle, Phantomos, Tomahawk, and that's just to name a few, and the list goes on. And he really steals the show on this record, in my opinion. I have a lot more respect, even more respect than I had before, for the double bass, the stand-up bass. I would call him like the John Zorn of double bass. Just absolutely amazing, abstract bass work on this record. And the Melvins, this being their 18th record, have really reinvented themselves once again. And to say the least, this is an amazing record. And yeah, I'm starting off saying that, and I haven't even started my review yet, but my God, there has been a couple records in the last few years that Melvins have put out that I've really liked, but I haven't loved. Like, I love this record. Just a really, really left field Melvins record. And starting with the opening track, Mr. Ripoff, which starts with double bass playing solo in this very classical style, and eventually drums will kick in, creating this backbone behind the sound, and Buzz Osborne on guitar will kick in, playing these very abstract guitar riffs. And then when Buzz does start singing, it's in this very spoken, not yelled type manner, and he's singing in this very lush type of vocal. And throughout the track, double bass will escape into these just bizarre sounds, creating all these awesome sound effects throughout the track. And it's a really, really interesting sound that the Melvins have created on Mr. Ripoff. And it continues seamlessly into the track Inner Ear Rupture, which starts with the whole band playing in unison, just getting prepared to, assault your senses, playing a very rabid style, and then it just comes to a halt, and bass once again takes center stage solo, playing these very, very abstract bass patterns. And I'm just loving the bass work on this album. I'm loving Trevor Dunn even more. It makes me want to go back and pop on all the old Tomahawk records and Mr. Bungle and listen to Phantomos over and over again, especially the director's cut. God, he's a good bass player, and I love it. I love the acoustic bass even more than I did before. I've always had respect for the instruments, but thrown into a mix like this, a sludge band, and allowing the basses to take center stage frequently throughout the album has really impressed me. On the track Worm from Waltz, there's an interesting thing that happens with the vocals. It sounds like all three vocalists, Dale Crover, Buzz Osborne, and Trevor Dunn, are singing at the same time often throughout this track, and it creates this very for lack of a better word, monstrous vocal effect. It sounds very grisly, like as if they're all singing in a different way, almost fucking around, but singing just different styled vocal. And then Buzz will go solo for a while, playing that very hushed, spoken, sung vocal, before double bass once again takes over, creating these very deep, lingering, bottomed out sounds, transform the track into just an entirely different beast than what began at the beginning of this track. On the track Leon versus the Revolution, this is just classic Melvins, with Buzz's over-the-top vocals, with fast, sporadic, crushing sludge riffs, and that bass. You can't get away from it. It just plays these riffs that are so deep and dark that me personally, I just grasp onto, and I'm loving it. It's just, so fucking good. On the track Holy Barbarians, this is a track that's very, very dreamy sounding, and it also has that very soft vocal style, sounds very lush and beautiful. And on the track Freak Puke, the title track, this is Melvins just going crazy, just super fast, heavy, with heavy bass. Dale Clover's slightly off drumming that's all over the place. And Buzz just destroys vocally with this nasty, ugly snarl throughout this entire track. And this track is just all fucking beast. And it leads you right into a cover song, and they cover Let Me Roll It by Paul McCartney and Wings. And I'm not familiar with the original track at all. I may have heard it in the past. I have no recollection of this track whatsoever. So when I heard it for the first time, I thought it was a Melvins original. I look at the liner notes, and I realized it's a cover song by Wings and Paul McCartney. Went and listened to the original over and over and over, and familiarized with myself with that track, and then listened to the Melvins track over and over again. And my God, they just beefed up this very simple 70s track into this beast of a sludge song. And not by playing it super fast or super aggressively. It's just very dark, and you've got these long, lingering bass riffs. You've got this nasty, beefed-up guitar, and these drums that add all these interesting additions from the original. And Buzz's vocals, that very high-pitched, snarling but calm vocal over this cover song. Just a sick cover song. My God. But yeah, after finding out this was a Wings cover, I've been on the hunt for, more Wings on LP, so I can dive back into this sound that I have been turned on to. I've heard a lot of the Beatles. I've probably heard just about everything the Beatles have done. I love the Beatles, but I've never lingered forward and checked out Wings, which a lot of people that are in their 50s and 60s that I've talked to just love Wings. They fucking love them. And I just never took the time to, invest in, learning about this band. And the Melvins have done it for me. And the closing track is Tommy Goes Berserk, and it's another track that has this very dreamy quality to it, but it's also very uplifting. And as the track progresses about halfway through, it lifts you up even higher into a higher consciousness. And as the song becomes faster and more chaotic, it still doesn't lose that dreamy, uplifting quality to it. And it's just a great closer to this song. It leaves you on on good footing, and when you're done with this track, you can go start the LP over and start from the beginning and listen to all this you've just experienced once again and over again. It's definitely one of those records for me. Every time I listen to it, I just like it even more and even more. But yeah, I highly recommend peeping out this record. It's Melvins' Freak Puke, and it came out in 2012 on Ipecac Records. If you're not familiar with Melvins whatsoever, this wouldn't be a bad place to start, but I would highly recommend their album Houdini. And there's two versions of this record. There's the original on Atlantic Records, Houdini on Atlantic Records, and I believe it was in 2004. I read that they haven't received any royalties from Houdini, and that's their best-selling record whatsoever. So the loophole for getting some kind of cash flow from Houdini was to release a live record. But the thing is they play Houdini live in the studio, so there's no crowd interrupting with studio quality or anything whatsoever. And in my opinion, the live Houdini in the studio is far superior than the original production-wise. It's meaner, it's just so raw. And I highly recommend Houdini live in the studio for anyone who's passed up on that and has just got the original and doesn't have the live one. I highly recommend the live version. But definitely keep this album out. It's really, really, really sick. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. And I'll see you all next time.